So I've been on 3 missions, and I think my favourite was the Ebola response in Sierra Leone. I was just out there for 4 short weeks. It was a really intense time, but you really felt, there's no more acute emergency than a disease outbreak like that. And that's where epidemiologists thrive. So an epidemiologist studies disease and its spread amongst populations. So what does that mean in MSF? It's a lot of data and looking at infectious disease outbreaks, investigating how an outbreak came about, what's happening with it, and most importantly, what we can do to stop it. But there's also a lot more involved. We do a lot in the field. We do a lot around any surveys that need to be done. The epidemiologists will lead those. And our surveillance of infectious diseases largely is something that the epidemiologists will advise on and will lead. So I'm a public health doctor, and public health and epidemiology greatly overlap. So before that, I was working for the NHS, training in public health there. But I've long wanted to do humanitarian work, especially with MSF. There's no typical day for an epidemiologist in an MSF project, which is part of what I love about being in the field. One of the big things is looking at any of our surveys that we need doing. So whether that's a vaccination coverage survey to see if a recent vaccination campaign has reached as many people, children, as we wanted. A mortality survey to see if an emergency humanitarian crisis is going on in a population or not. And that's what I love about this is you're working with different people, you're training your data collectors, you're going out with your data collectors to the field to check the survey's being done well. You're crunching all the numbers and then coming back to the medical teams and the mission to explain what's going on and therefore what you think should be done. Being a field epi with MSF means you get to travel, you get to be on the ground where things are happening rather than in an office in Europe. There's a lot more person-people interaction, I think, which, I really enjoy. There can be quite a lot of spreadsheets involved. When you can do a large survey and you've had tens of data collectors working hard for you to fill in questionnaire forms across communities, that's a lot of information to put into spreadsheets. It can be a challenge for me to spend an awful lot of time at the computer. Also, the places that MSF send you can be a bit challenging in terms of living conditions. You can really quickly adapt to living in a tent or showering from a bucket, but they can be at times a bit of a challenge. But I think the people you work with, both the MSF staff, expats and national staff, and the communities we work with, more than make up for those kind of challenges to our creature comfort. I think I really enjoyed the opportunity to put into practice the things I had learnt and heard in the lecture theatre and in my training, and really use that knowledge to solve problems on the ground. And the freedom I had, the respect that the medical team and others have for your skills as an epidemiologist, I felt was great. A little bit daunting at times when everyone turns and looks to you for an answer, but an amazing opportunity. You are the only field epidemiologist in your project. You always have support via email from one of the headquarters epidemiologists, which is great, but you don't have someone sitting next to you or in the room next door where you can go and ask them a question if you don't think you know. So you really have to take a leap of faith and trust in your own judgment and knowledge and skills at time, which can feel a bit unsettling. Learning to have that faith in your ability can be a challenge. I love travel. I love working with people. And I'm a doctor and medic. So I always wanted to go and help the people who need the help the most. And MSF can provide all of that, is the epitome of all of that, I think. We stand next to people who are suffering often in silence. And some of the people I've met on the field trips have really humbled me from that point of view. So I think, MSF is just the best place to be if you want to travel and really make a difference.